Discord Diffusion shapes confusion. Open Discord Diffusion Google Colab GitHub version. And first thing you do, you clone to your Google Drive, save copy as. It's creating a copy, and now this is on your Google Drive, which is connected to your account. It says copy of Discord Diffusion. I will rename this presentation of Discord Diffusion. A little notes about Colab. It's good that you have a Pro or Pro Plus. You can still use a free version of Colab, but often you will face the difficulties, a lack of memory, because Diffusion is working directly on the GPU, and to generate images from prompt requires a lot of memory, especially if you want to create a larger size image. Anyway, when you finish copy project to Google Drive, next thing is to connect to host machine. As here is a button, click. It says connecting, initializing, and it's connected. Next steps, you see there is these little arrows. You can open them and close them, and you can see, for example, here is all the credits to people who wrote this Colab file. And there is a licenses how you can use this. Next cell, tutorial cell, where you can find what different settings means. We will face these settings in the next steps. First thing what you do, you run first cell. You can see the code inside the cell. You can open and look what's inside, or you can just click on the play button and you need to run cell by cell. Here it prints out what kind of GPU you got from host. Remember, we connected to host machine, which is somewhere located in the Google Cloud, I don't know where. But here you can see what you got. I got this time Tesla P100 PCI, and it has a 16 gigabytes of memory. For things what I'm going to do next, it's completely enough. Next cell is you prepare your folders, and these check marks should be checked. When you run the cell, it will ask permission to connect to your Google Drive. You connect to your Google Drive. Allow. And for example, when you open Google Drive now, you go to your Google Drive, you will receive an email that you are sharing your data with Colab. In Google Drive, you have now a folder called AI, Discord Diffusion. And where is the folder images out? Here you will find an image which is generated by Discord Diffusion. When you see the green check mark, you know the cell is successfully run. Now you just click on the next one. You install important dependencies. You wait when everything is installed and finished. These are libraries that will help to manage all the modules that requires for Diffusion to generate an image from text. You run next cell, and another one. You can always see the code. At this point we are at the Diffusion and clip model settings. What are these settings? The first setting you can see Diffusion model, and you can choose either it's 256 by 256 or 512 by 512. If you are on free Google Colab, probably you would like to go for 255. But if you are on a Pro or Pro Plus, it's completely fine. And if you have memory at least 16 gigabytes, it's completely fine to go 512. On model settings, it's very important that you use a secondary model. Diffusion sampling mode, PLMS or DDM. What are these? PLMS will give you a sharper image, but if you use an animation, DDEM has a smoother transitions. Next, use checkpoints. Don't know. And then you have several modules which you can use. You can Google and see what are these modules. Usually I play with different kind of, but these settings which is default is completely fine to generate nice pictures. If you have a larger host GPU memory, you can use more, or you can try to use all of modules. It will increase dramatically rendering time, but not always. Picture will look better. Now, when you choose all the settings, you need to run this cell, and cell settings will be saved. If you made any changes here and didn't run the cell, changes will not going to be saved on your project. At the bottom of the cell, you can always see an output. You see the green check mark appeared and everything is correctly and successfully downloaded. Next, we have settings. These settings will define your picture. Batch name. This is like your project name. I will call my project a cat on bike. Next setting, steps. If you are familiar with the rendering, for example, Octane render, cycles or redshift, it's very similar. At the beginning, picture is foggy or diffused, and after each cycle, a picture becoming better and better and better. This is the same thing. These steps you can call as a cycles. More cycles you have, a better picture will be. For example, for animation, 250 is fine, but if you want to do pictures, like one picture, you can go for 500 or even 1000 or 2000. And of course, if larger number, rendering time increases. And these steps is related with CUTN batches. I think this number is a multiplier for the steps. Next parameter, this defines the size of your image. Proportions like 16:9. You go here with 720. As you can see, by default, this size is not very large. But the truth is, it is very large for the AI to generate such an image. For example, with 16 gigabytes of RAM, I will not going to be able to run, for example, 1080 or 2K or 3K or 4K. I will receive an error message, and usually it's a lack of memory. The workaround here is you generate smaller images. For example, I want to do a square image. An image will be generated faster, and after I use another AI tool to upscale. Next setting, clip guidance scale. This is arbitrary number, and you can imagine this number as a weight. Now when you place the settings here, I will press run button. Check. It's done. Now we move to animation part. There are different kind of animations. When the animation mode is done, you will receive on output an image. You can choose two-dimensional animation or either a three-dimensional. Or you have an option to use video as an input. For example, it's like images, but every time it will follow the video. We will start with none to generate just the images. Because animation section is quite a big topic, and we can go step by step through each of them. How to do two-dimensional animation, three-dimensional, and from video. So we will leave with none. There is no animation. Run the cell. There is extra settings. Usually I don't play with them. I just run this cell. And then it's very important. Here is your prompt section. As you see, there is already default prompt. And for example, these are frames. Of course, your sequence starts with a 0. This is a first prompt. And it will continue till frame 100. And on the frame 100, it smoothly will morph to this prompt. But in our case, we will start at a 0 and we will generate just the images. And I can delete this prompt and I will enter my simple prompt. A cat is riding a bike. Now you can click the play button and now it's time for diffusion. Usually for me this is the last step because there is another step where you can create a video, but usually I upscale pictures with the other upscale software and I'm manually creating a video from image sequence. Display rate will show you pictures in between steps. For example, I will say each 10 steps, please show me how it looks. It's not important setting, it's only for preview. For example, if you want to run a long animation and you are a good engineer and you trust your process, you can leave this as a big number so it only shows sometimes. But you can go always to your folder, images out, and look what is generated there. So with these settings, I can start diffusion. Okay, let's run. Now, at the very bottom, you can see output log. Okay, nice. As you can see, it starts with very abstract image. Here you can see batches. And now, at the 10th, we will start to see a second render. Because we defined each 10 steps, we will see a preview. Okay. A cat riding bike. Definitely I can start to see, yes, there is cat eyes. Okay. As you see, more steps it takes, the picture looks better. Or it's hard to say if it's better. It looks sharper, and completely, I must say, more steps, more confusion. I will see the next picture will be generated from the same prompt with different seed, and it will bring a different result. I left Diffusion running for several hours, and as you can see, I dropped my connection at 10:13 p.m. But as a result, as I told, it's possible to continue your work. For example, if I want to continue, and for example, I have an animation, now I would say click this check mark. But again, first I need to reconnect to a host server, and I need to run again all the cells above. When you run all the cells through till a diffuse cell, you click resume run, and then you activate diffuse cell, and it will continue your animation. Now we can preview our results. You go in Google Drive, image out, and this is, as you remember, cat on bike, and we can look for results. As you remember, this is a first picture, a second is completely different, and next, and next. These are completely different pictures because they have a different seed. Even in this picture you can see some background start being drawn. That's very interesting. I would say these are already made postcards. This is how you generate an image from prompt. Now we can go back. So this is good that my connection is dropped. I will do a reconnection. Initializing is done, and we can move forward. We can skip all the tutorial parts, and we can check what GPU I have right now. I got a very similar GPU with a 16 gigabytes of RAM. I will again connect my drive, install dependencies. Okay, cell is satisfied. It's using CUDA 0, the first graphics card on the host server. I will leave same settings here. And this project is going to be cat on bike plus init image. Cat on bike plus init image. And this time I will use an init image as an input. And this time I will increase, I will say, for example, 1000 steps. I need to paste a path for my image. Connect to my Google Drive. Inside the drive, my drive, AI, Discord Diffusion, I will use my picture. It looks like this. Picture of myself. And I will paste. Okay, it's not. I will copy path and paste. It's inside the content drive, my drive AI Diffusion. And now it's very important that we skip steps, half of the steps, like 500, it's a half global steps. So the modules can use input image as a starting point. And in its scale, it's a half scale of the guidance scale, and it can vary. I will use 1500 as a weight compared to that prompt weight. Now I can run the cell again without animation. Good. Extra settings. Let's go. Prompt the same. And let's run diffuse. Oh, I can see we have messed up proportions of picture. If we don't want this, we can stop and we can fix that. For example, we need to define a size here. It's the best that the size is the same as our init picture size. Oh, look. Maybe it shows the size. No. I will go in my Google Drive. Here it is, a picture. No properties. Still no properties. We'll download and get info. So it's 512 by 896. 512. Oops. 512. Okay. I will run. And this time I don't need to run all the cells again. Hopefully. I think. Yes or no. Let's see. I'll run diffuse. Yes, good. Looks good. And now the magic, where the cat with the bicycle will appear. Because prompt weight is much heavier than image weight, and cat with the bike should appear somewhere very, very clearly. Wow, that was interesting. I will stop this diffusion and we'll look at the result. Image out, and this is plus init image. Wow, definitely we can see a cat riding, I don't know, something it rides. Here is a bike wheel, but this part is, and half of my body turned into street. It's a confusion, it's a big confusion, but here you can see how picture input can be mixed together with the prompt, and now we can use the same picture to stylize this picture. I will change a prompt, for example, to mold macro photography around the cell, and now we can observe results. Wow, this is heavily stylized picture. And of course you can use other prompts. For example, a beautiful painting in style of Picasso. Let's run Diffuse and see results. You can use any prompt, any idea, any concept. You can even mix random words to make up the prompt and see results.